course, we'll have the notary elections. Not aware of any other elections that need to be on this agenda. There are 2 honorariums that have been brought to my attention. One for an employee in Brady's office, I think, that has been here now 35 years. Is that right?
I'm gonna get you all the details.
That'd be great. We'll do that. And then there's also one to congratulate the South Lawrence girls on winning the basketball state tournament in middle school. And then the only other resolution that I'm aware of at this point is we will need to consider approving the contract between the state of Tennessee and the county for purposes of funding, the state funding or partially funding one of the sheriff's deputies for child support purposes, or an employee in the sheriff's department for child support purposes.
Okay.
State has been doing that, apparently has had no problem with it just rocking along, and this is the first time that they've produced an amendment, which is fine. It has to do more with AI compliance and the like, but they've asked for commission approval of the contract. So apparently that's what they've started doing around the state. So that'll be on the agenda. Brandy was gonna make sure it's on budget at this next meeting. Though it's, I believe it's budget neutral because it's been, most of the money comes from the part that the county pays is already in the budget, and all we're doing is approving, yes, we'll take the state's money to fund the rest of it, as I understand it. So, and that's all that I have been told thus far. Anybody else, what you got?
Scott Franks has got one that we need to amend resolution 2025-1125. He sent you the email, so I won't read it all, but needs to add one residence,
Yes.
$3,000 to that. We need to amend
That water line
Yes, sir.
extension.
What was it previously, 2,000 or 2,500?
It was 3,000.
3,000, but
He's adding one residence
There's
to
another
it.
residence.
Oh, to
Yeah.
that one line?
Yeah.
Isn't it from 15 to 18?
Yes, yeah.
It'd be
Or was it
15.
12 to 15?
That might have been that.
12.
too.
I think it's just 12
12 to
was the
15,
last,
yeah,
it's 12 to
yeah,
15.
yeah.
I read that right before coming here. Thank you for remembering that, because I forgot it. There is another one too, but it'll be depending on budget,
Tomorrow night?
after budget, right? We've got the rate increase from the EMS committee that's supposed to be going in front of budget, and I think that's the 9th, correct?
Yeah, let me look back at that real quick. Yeah, the budget committee meeting's on the 9th.
6 p.m.
EMS rate increase, and then we had talked about passing on the new truck consideration to the budget committee as well.
210 or 15.
And that's 15 to 18, I'm sorry, not 12 to
It
18.
is 15
Yes.
days.
So those
Seems like
two,
did we amend that before we voted on it, and then there's another one that
I don't know,
added?
I'm just reading what his
It was-
email says, so.
I do have 2.
But that was from the emergency
Okay.
services committee, so there's two things that could come out of budget.
So rate increase for EMS, and the second was the
new truck purchase. Also, tomorrow night, one of either Summertown girls or Loretto girls will win the state championship.
Nice.
It may be too quick to,
It's not a stadium.
is it not? I thought it said state.
Regional.
It's
Regional.
regional
It's
going.
reg-
to-
okay, I'm worried
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, okay. All right, okay, so it's not state.
Hey,
All right.
whichever one wins will win the state, right? Yeah.
Usually that's what happens.
Mr. Ray, you got
Thank you,
the
Mr.
floor.
Chairman. I have 2 items to add. One is an honorarium I'm still gathering some information on, but there's a student who's competed in a few 4-H competitions and has been successful over the course of a 3-year period. And she's even potentially going to go higher than what she did last year. So I'm going to gather that data and would like that to be on the agenda.
absolutely.
There's also, just for all of you to know, there is a bill in the Senate right now, Senate Bill 2311, that has to do with city annexation and county approval on said annexation. So I've been asked by a few different people to consider a resolution in support of this to send to the state of Tennessee. I'm still gathering some information, and once I've gathered the appropriate information, I'll disseminate that via email if that's all right, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
And that will give you all consideration. But if we can add that on the agenda as a potential item of consideration, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate that. And like I said, I'll forward that to all commissioners so they can have some more understanding, and I'll gather as much data as I can on that item. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If you need a co-sponsor on our end, right?
Sure, yeah. Absolutely. And I can sponsor both of those items, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
I have some questions on the honoring employee, which I'm all for that, I'm not fussing on it, I know there's employees who's been here and not got honored. That's my concern.
Well, and this is the reason that Philip and I talked about this, because we need to start
We need something,
recognizing. So this is just kind of the
just kind of
beginning.
a starting.
So it's nothing against anybody else.
Right,
This was the only one that I knew of that recently done it,
I
so
just
I
knew
mean,
we were gonna have questions.
and I have no issue with honoring somebody else that's been here a lifetime,
Right,
you know?
Yeah.
I wish we'd give them a gold watch,
exactly.
my personal opinion, but, you know,
Here's your real one.
so we'll give them a piece of paper instead, you know?
Yeah.
But I think we need to start somewhere, and that was the reason
I
I
agree.
talked with Philip and said, hey, if he's willing to do it, let's sponsor it with him.
I'm willing to.
I mean, when you have employees that have been here 30 years, 35 years, 40 years, I mean, something needs to be said about that, because
I
that's a lifetime.
Mr. Chairman, just to
Okay.
consider,
Yes, sir.
it may be worth us having some form of a rolling list that we get, or you as the chair, somebody gets,
I
just
agree.
for us to keep an eye on a length of tenure, so we can
Yeah.
address that at the appropriate time on a rolling basis,
I agree with that.
just so we don't have anybody.
So we'll
left
start
out.
with this one, and then we'll focus on
Just
that.
make
I agree with
Make it going forward.
I like it, yeah.
Some divisions or departments in the state government are more efficient and better at this than others, but they have a rolling 5-year anniversary thank you token that they just put into place. So, 5 years may be a pen,
Yeah.
10 years may be a writing pen,
Yeah.
and it's just put in as a matter of course.
Right,
And from my experience in the few boards that I've been a part of where staff members have received those notices, they're not cost prohibitive, but they mean a lot.
yes, I agree 100%.
And that way you are touching every employee, almost every employee.
Right.
Worth
Well,
considering.
yeah, I like that idea, and so we'll put that in there for sure. Might get several of us together, we might just look at that, so.
It's really.
All right, anything else, anybody else?
Nancy, do we have anything else we talked about? I think we covered.
I have just one question, any update on the interlocal agreement with the city on solid waste?
Ryan and I discussed it today. We got one more parlay between Dick and myself, and then it'll be between Betts and Ryan to finalize it.
Okay.
There wasn't any issue with Dick on the county having more say and, how much that raise would be above cost of living.
At the end of the
That's
day,
that's the big.
after really digging into it, after getting, upset with what we could not do, there's a whole bunch of things they should be upset with that's in that too, if it's gonna
Yeah.
cover them, that it's really open. We could really nail them on some sides and they could really nail us. Not that it would happen, but
So there's one other thing. So one of the issues out there is, this could be a comptroller issue, is that like on Saturdays, the dumpster that's there for C&D is a city dumpster, it's city money.
county.
And oftentimes the county employees are receiving that money. So Gary's recommendation would be to put, have another employee in that office, so you have Robbie and one other employee that was county, city. So essentially it's the same money for us, same money for the city, not gonna change the dollar amount. But there's somebody there, like when one's at lunch, this one can receive money and they're a city, county employee, so it's perfectly fine. They can rotate in on Saturdays to be there, to receive money. So that's something I've added to the interlocal agreement.
And that could change if they ever did open out there to where they could weigh and dump anyway, right?
But it's cheaper on them to pay half and do it at our place than to run that out there. At some point, you think they'd get all that turned on out there, we'll see.
Yeah, easier for them to use our scale than to use their brand new one out there.
Well, pay an employee to set up, yeah, that's the thing, yeah, so. Again, our city government's being as efficient as yes, with their tax dollars.
Very well.
Yeah, very.
That made me think too, have you heard anything about the college? Anything on that?
So it did go before the committee. Paige, I was just with him last night, and he had made a call yesterday for me, trying to get an update on where it's proceeding from there. So it hit the committee last week, and he said everything was supposed to be kind of just a rubber stamp for it to be approved by the state to be sold. And so once that comes back down, then we're kind of at their mercy at this point as far as timing goes. Of course, they're in the middle of their session.
So that's the reason. I mean, had any
That's it,
updates
so-
on negotiations or anything?
It went, well, I mean, once they approved that initial request by Columbia State, so Columbia State's making this request and they're offering to put this much money in. If the state approves that, then we can come in and say, well, yeah, would you consider this, would you consider that? Again, that'll have to go back to the state if there's a new consideration made, you know what I mean, so. $9 million is not a bad deal, we're coming out ahead, actually, from what we put into it now.
So that's, I mean, that's what.
9 million's
Nothing's
on,
changed on that.
9 million's it right now, cause that was your, yeah. That was Columbia State's offer to us, right, so, and they weren't offering any more, so they have to get that approved, and then if we don't sell it to them for that, then they'll have to consider our counter. And then they have to send it back up the ladder and all that.
Still thinking, city will be in agreement to go back, what did we end up talking about, 4.5 and 4.5? Or are they gonna?
That's right around where it's at. They're just a hair up. I think they're like 52%. We're at 48 point something. They're at 51 point something. So that's kind of where it'll be right there on that 4.5. So I mean, for us, we get out of it. We
College business, not this.
out of the college business, and we get our money back, and then a little bit to boot.
LUS is not gonna ask for that for it?
Well, that's between them and the city.
Yeah, that ain't nothing to do with us.
They paid the city's. They've been paying the city's payment on it too. So
Yeah,
that's
The
between
city
them.
ain't got nothing in it.
No,
Yeah.
US has got everything, yeah.
That's between them and let's let them fight that out over there.
Just make sure we get ours.
Let's just let's get our half and get the heck out. God.
There's a whole bunch of weeds you could get into, and that's my
Mhm.
light bill too.
Anything else? Okay, guess we're done.
I bet that list expands.
That does too.
I think, the 12th is resolution. So, what,
Is that next Thursday?
it'd be great to have anything
Finalized.
finalized and on there.
We shouldn't have much more than what's coming, I mean, honestly.
Nothing on my radar. We had
Nothing
said
I
it
know of
tonight,
either.
I think.
There's no other committees that are meeting between now and then, other than budget. So,
All right.
Look forward to getting the resolution report.
Thank y'all for coming.
At some point.
We'll do it.
That's great.
We'll have it ready.
All right.